What up, everybody? It's your boy Young Fizz, aka Mr. Dope Status, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we are back inside of Maschine, and I'm gonna be working with 808s inside of Maschine. Alright, so this was a viewer requested video, so I'm gonna be showing you guys some of the ways that I work with 808s inside of Maschine. Alright, so without further ado, make sure you hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell notification so when I drop a new video, you are the first one to be notified. Alright, so like I said, we're going to be working with 808s inside of Maschine, so make sure you're listening back on a good pair of studio monitors or headphones that have good bass response. Alright, so let's go ahead and choose my 808 here. Let's see. Alright, so I'm going to choose this 808 here. I'm just going to double click. That's going to load it to sound number 1 here. Alright, and the reason why I chose this 808 because I do hear a problem in here. You hear that pitch, how it goes up? So we're going to go ahead and address that in this video as well. So this may be a little bit of a lengthy video because I just want to kind of show you guys, my process and working with an 808. And hopefully this will give you guys a better idea of, standing out from the crowd with your 808s. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press this little magnifying glass. That's going to close that window there. All right, so let's go ahead and let me just listen to the sound again, preview it. All right, so the first thing I want to go ahead and do, it's going to be loaded up as a one shot. I don't want it to be one shot. I want it to be ADSR, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about that in a moment. Right now we're just going to choose ADSR. All right, so let's go ahead and do that, the first step. All right, so I went to voice settings engine, and then I'm going to change the polyphony to number 1. All right, so what that basically does is instead of having multiple notes play at the same time, we're going to have one note play one at a time. All right, so one note at a time. All right, so now it's sounding good, right? Except for that little do. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and address that issue there. All right, so now let me go ahead and gain stage before I even do anything else. So the next thing I want to go ahead and do is gain stage, and I talked about this in another video. If you haven't already, be sure to check out that video. I'm gonna leave a link in the description box below, so definitely watch the rest of this video and then go watch that video right after if you want to know how to properly gain stage a Maschine. But this is gonna be like a little basic thing of what I do with the 808 inside Maschine, which is gain staging. So all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and press the pad mode on my Maschine Studio here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go to fixed velocity. All right, so I just went ahead and did pad mode and I fixed the velocity, and I want to change the fixed velocity all the way to a 127. So that means at its loudest possible sound going into Maschine, that means it's going to go up to its 127. So what I want to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and go to zone here, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring down the gain all the way to -10. So you're probably asking me, why would I bring down the gain to -10? Well, because when I load a plugin here, so I'm going to go ahead and just open my plugin window. When I load a plugin, you're going to see with the compressor, it automatically defaults to -10 right there before it even starts compressing at all. So that's why I like to choose a nice level at -10. I know it's at its highest peak, it's going to be at -10. All right, so now that I got done doing my gain stage with this 808, I'm going to go ahead and change the fixed velocity back to 100, which is be completely fine. Just in case, I don't even, if I turn off my fixed velocity, not going to hit at different levels, it's all good. All right, so that's pretty cool there. All right, so now that my signal is properly gain staged, I showed you guys why I went ahead and did add the compressor, why I did it at -10. I want to go ahead and remove them. I'm going to go ahead and remove this here so I'm not confusing anybody on what I'm doing. The next thing I want to go ahead and do is edit my sample. So I just hit sampling on my Maschine Studio. I go over to edit, and it can also be accessed right here as well. And you can also access the sample from this button right here. So check this out. So as I'm looking at my waveform, you can see how it goes do do do. All right, so check this out. I want to basically cut that sample to where it's not doing that. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag this, or I can use my Maschine controller here to set my start and end point. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm just gonna chop off that sample before it changes its pitch right here, right? So that's sounding good. Let me zoom in because I want to get this nice and really cut even. And I hear a little click at the end, and that's completely fine. But we can really zoom in here and really fine tune it. to where the click is not even noticeable. Maybe around there somewhere. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out, and then all I'm gonna do is just go ahead and truncate this, and that's just gonna chop off what I don't need there. So let me just, actually I want to go ahead and back this up just a little bit more here. I see another big peak. Let me go zoom in one more time. So right around there sounds good to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit apply, and that's just gonna chop my sample to where I like it there. So you're probably wondering, why in the world would he chop off the sample? How is he gonna do this? Well, that's where the loop mode comes into play. So I'm just gonna go ahead and head over to zone, and then I'm just gonna basically loop the sample. So down here, there's some controls, and you wanna make sure the loop is active here. All right, so that's gonna loop your sample there. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and on my machine control, I'm gonna select my start and end points for the loop here. So I'm just gonna find a place where I can loop it at. And so I can show you guys on the screen what's happening. Let me go ahead and bounce back to the screen here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to edit mode. And I'm just finding where I can loop it at here. All right, so that's sounding good there. And then the next thing I want to go ahead and do is go back over here and change my X fade and just really make that seamless. All right, so earlier I told you, you needed to change the ADSR, and the reason to change your ADSR is because if this is on one shot and you try to do loop mode, it's not going to loop because it's only one shot. So you need to change this to ADSR so you're able to loop it. All right, so that's the whole purpose of the ADSR, is so it enables the loop mode to work properly. So now you have a seamless 808. All right, so the next thing that you want to go ahead and do is tune the 808. And so to do that, we're going to go ahead and open our good friend Guitar Rig here under Native Instruments. We're going to go ahead and go to Guitar Rig 5 is what I'm on. And we're going to go ahead and look for the tuner, and it should be, let's see, this button, that's the metronome. So this is the tuner here. So you can just go ahead and tune this 808 to its proper key. So it should be reading some signal there and looking at this. So right now it said that it's in key of G, and we don't want the key of G. We want the key of C, because when I hit the pad when I hit the pad, it says it's C3. So we want to make sure this is C. I'm just going to go ahead and go over to our tune mix here. It says root key. We're going to change it to it says C. All right, and now we can see that we can go ahead and fine tune here. So let's go ahead and fine tune this here. So I'm just gonna hold down shift and just, make it negative. And I'm just gonna go ahead and keep making it negative until it's reading closer to that 0 mark. So I'm just basically tuning this kick to make sure it's in tune. I'm like a little bit off there, so I'm gonna go ahead and just fine tune. I'm holding shift and clicking, dragging. All right, so that's good there. So now it's nice and tuned. And so if I go back to my pad mode, I can play it all over the keyboard here. So that's pretty cool. All right, so now that I showed you guys how to tune, I showed you guys the fixing the 808. So let me go ahead and show you guys, from here, it's just all creative work here. So now I can go ahead and remove the guitar rig, because now I know my samples in tune. And let me go ahead and show you guys here what I like to do. I like to add some distortion. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the internal distortion here. You can go ahead and just distort a little bit. If you want the little pump type of sound, just turn it up a little bit, or you can mix it in right here. Bring out some of that buzz. We want some definition. And then also what I like to do is add some maybe like saturation or something. So I can just go down here and go to saturation. Change the contour, change the drive. And so we started with this here, and now we have this right here. So it just adds a little bit more power to your 808. And then also, I don't really do this too much, but you can add like a maximizer if you like. just to give it some overall level here. And then you can also adjust your little gain here to kind of balance out your 808, but it just kind of boosts up your 808 a little bit. And that's pretty much how I, craft my 808 inside of Maschine. So I hope you guys found some value out of it. If you did, please hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. So whenever I drop a new video, you are the first one to be notified. It's your boy Young Fizz, aka Mr. Dope Status on Instagram, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. We out.